Last week was incredibly difficult for us. In Portugal and in parts of the Mediterranean, there are these caterpillars that nest and live near pine trees. And their hairs contain an irritating toxin that can cause allergic reactions in humans. But if it's ingested by dogs, this toxin can be fatal. I remember last Sunday, we came back from our walk, and something was not right. We usually wash our dog's paws after the walk, but Lily, she didn't come out of the shower. She slowly went to her bed and took a nap, and after a couple of hours, we saw that her mouth was so swollen and her tongue was completely blue. We rushed to the emergency vet. Thankfully, they're just down the street from where we live, and they knew right away that it was something related to these caterpillars. Lily was immediately rushed to the back, and they kept her overnight to oversee the progression of her tongue. They warned us that if she had ingested it, it could be really bad news. That night, I got little to no sleep, as you can imagine. I just kept replaying over and over again what could have happened during our walk. Lily is my first dog. Her full name is actually Lilikoi, meaning passion fruit in Hawaiian. Because on our first car ride back home, the song Lilikoi by Paula Fuga was playing on the radio. Also because she is so beautiful, just like a lily, my favorite flower. I had just moved to Maui in 2016 and felt incredibly lonely. But when Lily came into my life, she was my safe place, something that was mine. From that moment, we were inseparable. I always had this little fluff ball following me around everywhere, her slightly droopy eyes and the tail wagging. You guys know from my videos, she is always right behind me. All the memories of her kept replaying in my head. How she loves to swim in the ocean, how she waits patiently for any droppings while I'm cooking. And she loves sticking her head out the window during car rides, and every morning, army crawling to lick my face. And these are just the day-to-day moments, but she's been there through all of my big milestones too. My wedding day, when I quit my job, when we were renovating our home. They say the dog you get in your 20s is there for some of the biggest transitions of your life. Well, Lily is that dog for me. She was my constant for the last 9 years, and my life would have not been the same without her. The next day, we went to go pick her up, and she didn't last too long before she had to go back to the vet. This time, she looked even worse, and I couldn't get one word out to the receptionist before I broke down. Her tongue was now turning white, and her tiny body was trembling with pain. She couldn't drink, she couldn't eat. I was just Googling like a crazy person in the waiting room, but I knew I couldn't change anything at this point. The doctor called me and my husband in, and she told us to take a deep breath. She said, "Lily will lose half of her tongue." And I can't quite describe what I felt in that moment. So relieved that she's still alive, but so devastated that a big part of her tongue will be missing. I had a good cry session in the car and took her back home. The day after, I saw her walking to her water bowl and trying to drink some water. She looked at me with a confused look, not sure why she couldn't use her tongue in the same way. In that moment, we made eye contact, and for whatever reason, a switch flipped in me. All these years, she had been there for me through some of my worst moments, and now I needed to be there for her more than ever. At the beginning of this year, I decided on one word to be my intention, and I chose the word courage. And I am quickly learning that courage is not always found in grand gestures. More often than not, it's called for in the small moments of our lives. It's choosing to show up day after day, even when we can't find a reason to. Having those difficult conversations, being vulnerable, caring for someone, setting boundaries, and asking for help. Even if it's not for us, for the ones that we love, especially those who depend on us. The word courage is a noun, but there is no courage without action. The way that Lily survived and chooses to drink water despite her pain, her action is courage. And after many days of feeling sorry for her and for myself, I realized that I needed to choose courage for her too. And with that, I wiped my last tear away. She's doing a lot better now. In a few months, I know she'll be able to give me kisses again, with only half of her tongue, but I know the love will always be the same. And for the last couple of days, I've been just thinking about all the people who were there for me during this tough time. The vet who comforted me, my husband who never left my side, my friends and family who were constantly checking in on us. They're all part of the reason I could even choose courage. We all know that social media is just a highlight reel, but even in our real lives, we only see the surface of everyone else's lives. We truly don't know the weight of someone's smile or the root cause of their distress. Life is already so complex and challenging at times. I think it's so important to approach everything and everyone with a little more compassion and empathy. And maybe in doing so, we can be the reason someone else finds courage to show up and keep going.